Okay, everybody. Welcome to the All2ReelToo podcast. I am your host with the most, Michael E. Cullen II. I don't know what the most of what, but with me as always is...
Matt Haas.
Are you okay, Matt?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What's wrong, man?
The movie.
You can tell us.
The
It's
movie-
just between you, me, and our listeners.
The movie we just watched was worse than Tooth Fairy 2, which I didn't think was possible.
Yeah. So, folks, today we're covering the 2003 classic French Stewart comedy Inspector Gadget 2 from the director of Tooth Fairy 2, Alex Sam. Yes, Inspector Gadget 2. Because we didn't say enough with the first one. That they decided, hey, let's see, if we can find a better actor to play the main character than Matthew Broderick.
So, no, we'll find someone that can be made up to look sort of like Matthew Broderick, even though he doesn't naturally look like him.
I think they were going more for the cartoon version of Gadget in this version, because I will give them that French Stewart is closer to the cartoon Don Adams incarnation of the great Inspector Gadget.
Yep.
So when I was a kid, I used to love Inspector Gadget. It was my favorite show to come home and watch as a kid. Yep.
Good times. Me Too was someone I'd
Yeah, I think this is part of the Me Too movement. I do feel violated somehow. Yes.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
You went there.
I know I did, and that was very insensitive. I'm sorry. But anyways, it's true, though.
I would do the same thing. I would go home, and my parents wouldn't be home from work until about maybe a half hour, 45 minutes after I got home from school. So I would go to my grandma's for that in the meantime until they got home. And one of the main shows I would watch was Inspector Gadget. And
it was like
SpaghettiOs or some kind of nice little snack after school.
Mm-hmm.
Great memories of childhood and of dreams and whimsical theories of reality, and how is it possible that this man can stretch out his arms 100 feet, and it just makes you feel really good about life and yourself and your family. And then this comes around, and then
Penny
just kind of makes you feel bad about things. I was actually legitimately depressed while watching this. Like I was bored.
Inspector Gadget.
Like
Missed it by that much. Sorry, that was my Don Adams impersonation. Might not be the greatest, but it was decent, I think.
It's fine.
Yes.
But it kind of reminds me of Mark Maron when he talks about the Dave Matthews Band, and there's like a boredom, but it's like with an edge to it. It's like that's how I felt.
That's how this felt.
That's how I felt. It was like it was boredom, but it was like this kind of anger to it. I'm like. So yeah, that's why I'm subdued, because I did not enjoy this movie at all.
Our great director Alex Sam, who is now becoming one of my favorite directors. He's the most brilliant direct-to-video sequel director out there. He was one of the co-writers along with Ron Anderson and William Robertson. Not sure what they've done because they don't even have links on Wikipedia. They might on IMDb though. Let's see.
Let's check it out. Yeah, let's see what they got going on here.
See if we can find any information about the writers of this film to see what else they've written. Okay.
If anything.
Ron Anderson. He wrote Inspector Gadget 2.
Yep.
Chicken Little.
Oh, okay.
And he's written for the TV series The Penguins of Madagascar.
Okay, well that's...
And he was an actor in the movie Bangkok Dangerous.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of a diverse...
diverse IMDb credits there. The other writer, William Robertson, also wrote Woody Woodpecker, directed by Alex Sam. Jingle All the Way 2, directed by Alex Sam. Little Rascals Save the Day, directed by Alex Sam. And he also wrote the movie starring Will Friedle from Boy Meets World, the made-for-TV movie My Date with the President's Daughter, which I actually enjoyed. I remember back in the day, which was also directed by, guess who?
Alex. Whatever.
Alex Sam.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. I guess they like to work together.
And coincidentally, he co-starred Dabney Coleman, who played Chief Quimby in the original live-action Inspector Gadget, but not in this one.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm. He played it with a mustache.
Yeah.
Now, that was my number one complaint about this whole movie. Chief Quimby needs to have a mustache. I'm sorry, but I just always picture Chief Quimby with his nice little bushy mustache.
Yeah. And they even have, Inspector Gadget have a fake mustache at one point. You think that they could do something like that, but...
In the original animated series, by the way, Inspector Gadget did have a mustache in the pilot.
Oh, okay.
And they made them take it away because he looked too much like Inspector Clouseau.
Oh, okay.
It was already pretty Clouseau-like in his abilities. But yeah, it was very much, the show was very much inspired by Get Smart as well, which is why Don Adams, they had somebody trying to do a Don Adams impersonation originally, but then they just decided, hey, let's hire Don Adams, who played Max Smart, and have him do the voice, because who does Don Adams better than Don Adams?
Right.
I mean, obviously now they have Maurice LaMarche and other people doing the voice because Don has passed away, but yes. But once again, missed it by that much. Okay. Anyways, So, we're going to talk about this wonderful film. So, it had all the elements of a film. There were cameras, a script of some sort, actors, special effects. I'm assuming a budget.
Audio.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they probably have boom operators and somebody recording the audio.
Probably had people on set to serve lunch and snacks, maybe.
Yes, craft services.
So,
yes, probably.
Sponsors had Kellogg's, and
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes, Dunkin' Donuts.
that's right. So there was, there was actually some money behind this.
I mean, I'm assuming they're sponsors because they were featured prominently on screen in different scenes, but who knows? This whole film was shot in Australia. Not that that matters. I have nothing against Australia, but they tried to make it seem like it was America. And it felt like Australia the whole time I was watching it.
Well, most of the actors are Australian.
Yes.
And one of them was New Zealand.
Yeah. So most of the actors come from a land down under. And they... I don't know. So the only actor to return from the original movie was the voice of the Gadget Mobile, Mr. D.L. Hughley. Yeah. The prolific comic and king of comedy and star of the Hughleys, among other things. Guy I admire greatly. Yeah. Not sure if I do anymore, but yes, I do. I'm joking. Oh, boy. Sorry, DL, if you're out there.
Sorry,
I still think you're awesome. Okay. Anyways, very funny guy.
Yeah.
Very observant commentator.
Yeah, he did that one show where he was like interviewing like the leader of like the neo-Nazis and crap like that. It was like some really serious.
No, did he do something? Okay,
I
know he had like a show on CNN for a while and stuff.
It was really interesting, like really hard hitting kind of stuff too. Like
that's pretty cool. So, what's the plot of this movie, Matt? Do you remember?
It was like I was trying like my hardest to pay attention, but it was just so boring. What I can remember is that it starts off with Inspector Gadget, who has no first name, by the way.
Yeah. In the first movie, they say his name is John Brown.
Oh, okay.
But they don't mention it anywhere in this movie.
His niece always calls him Uncle Gadget. So I'm like, okay, so his last name is Gadget. All right, whatever. So it starts off with him basically looking for crime because there's no more crime anymore because of what he had done. He put all of the bad guys away. So he's like overzealous. Like he arrested an old lady for drag racing, and she didn't have her license on her, so he took her down to the station. But it turned out to be the dude with the guy who was supposed to have the mustache, his mom. And apparently this woman has superhuman strength because
Chief Quimby,
because she looks like she might be at least like 87 years old, and she was able to lift a 200-pound man clearly above her head and then throw him down into the prison cell. So and this was after spanking him a lot too, which was kind of weird. And then like Chief Quimby's like smiles and he's like, tough love. I'm like, okay, it's creepy. But like so there's like it has elements of all the creepy stuff that we see in these movies. And by the way, I would add unintentional creepiness because it's kind of just thrown in there without any regard for context or even attempting to even make a creepy point. It's just in there, like with the whole thing with George the Jungle 2, where a gorilla raped a human woman, but there was really no context
in a Disney
for it.
Disney movie,
which they care so much about good morals and about stuff like that. They don't believe in coercive kind things because tweets are worse than a gorilla taking advantage of it. Okay, but anyway, so
yeah.
Anyway, so
at least there was no bestiality in this movie.
No, so it's like they throw in weird stuff that's creepy, but there's no reason to have it in there. It doesn't further along the plot in any way. It's not even a funny joke. There's no joke to it. It's just there, and it's like what Mike said about there's elements to a movie, and it's just thrown all in there like in a stew, and you're just supposed to make do with it basically. Is it a movie or is it just a bunch of scenes thrown together and then you have to figure out what the plot is? All right, anyway, I'm backtracking. So
yes.
What happened was he's arresting people for no reason, and then Claw finally
Dr. Claw.
Dr. Claw finally gets out of prison or whatever. I don't know what happens. And then and he's going to set up shop again to do his crimes, and I pretty much blanked after all of that stuff. I know that his niece was cutting school at one point or something. Also his thing keeps glitching, and there's like a new model that's like an android basically, who's supposed to be like the new Inspector Gadget. Like she doesn't have any problems like that he does. She's not really even fully human, and his body whatever keeps malfunctioning. Like every time he tries to make a command, he says do this or whatever, and it doesn't work. I don't know. And
yeah, that kind of happened in the cartoon originally too.
Okay.
And he's kind of always had glitches. He'd be like, go banana, and an apple will come out.
Oh, okay.
Not that I don't know if a banana's a thing, but I'm just making that up. Whatever.
Right. Do you remember? I don't remember the plot anymore.
Something. Okay, here.
I don't
okay.
remember. We just watched it, and I don't even remember.
Yeah. Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay. Anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore? I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
Because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn it. Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
then you should definitely check this out, or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
Yeah,
so
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
Yeah, no one can really. So
yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast. Okay, everybody, we are back. Right now we're going to go to a little new segment we have here called the All2Interview. The other day I had a nice little conversation with Sam Kwasman. He is been in the business for years, in the entertainment business. He started out with the movie Mame, where he worked with Lucille Ball, and he's currently the voice of Little Quackers on the Tom and Jerry cartoon, and he's also got an Amazon movie that's produced by Jerry Seinfeld called Letters from a Nut. And so, you got to make sure you check that out. You might know him from his appearances on Bob Newhart and many other great things. He was also did voices for Mad TV. He was on episodes of Airwolf, Lou Grant, many things over the years. He's been on Robot Chicken with Seth Green, different things. So here's a little bit of my interview. Matt wasn't there that day, but that's okay.
I feel bad, but
it's okay.
I would have liked it, but
yeah,
it's my fault. It's my fault.
It's all right. So here's Sam Kwasman.
Enjoy.
Okay, we'd like to welcome Sam here to the All2Interview section of our All2ReelToo podcast. First off, just tell us a little bit about how you got started in entertainment.
Well, believe it or not, I started as a professional dancer. I danced in a show called Disney on Parade. My best partner was a guy named Patrick Swayze. He was in my first dance company. And it was a Disney show, so I wound up as the voice of Donald Duck for the show for 2 years. I did it live the first year. And I was the lead alligator in Fantasia.
That's really cool.
And it was Anna White who choreographed it. She had just won the Academy Award for Oliver 2 years earlier. And then I went on to dance for her in the movie Mame with Lucille Ball. And we had a great time. It was great to work for her. I was really thrilled. Had a wonderful dance experience there. And from dancing and Donald Duck, I went on to do television and movies as an actor. But I still kept up my dancing.
That's cool.
So it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, wish I could dance. I have 2 left feet. I have been in a few musicals and really couldn't dance that well in them, but I tried. What was it like? Did you get to meet Lucille Ball when you were on Mame?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact, I had a great time with her. She used to tell me stories, lots of stories. She was just wonderful. I was dancing in the show, and we had all this downtime, and I took a picture with her. And, I would say to her, like, oh, I really like the Three Stooges. And then she would tell me a story about how they almost killed her.
Oh, wow.
And I said, what? She goes, well, I was in one of their little segments, one of the little episodes. And believe it or not, I'm supposed to put powder on my face. And Larry Fine comes by and turns on the fan. And the powder was very fine, and I opened my mouth and opened my eyes and went, breathed in, and all the powder went into my nose and my mouth and my throat, and I couldn't breathe, and into my eyes. And she said her eyes were like, every time she blinked, it was like sandpaper.
Oh, wow.
So she was very upset and said she was in the hospital for 3 days. So they put her in the hospital. And she would say, bad props. They almost killed me. That's her exact words. How about that?
That's crazy.
Yeah. She also told me a story, and if she hadn't told me directly, I just would never have believed it. She apparently during World War II, she would drive to the studio, MGM Studios in Culver City, and she had a filling in her tooth. She had a filling, and back then they had to use a little filling, a different kind of filling. And sure enough, on her way to the studio, she'd get radio waves, and she started listening. She picked up this radio broadcast of people talking in German.
Oh, wow.
And it got louder and louder as she got to the studio. And then she called the FBI or the police, and they circle around until they got louder and louder. And boom, guess what? She found a nest of Nazi spies spying on MGM Studios through her tooth.
Wow. I never believed that actually happened. I mean, I've seen that on like Love Boat and Saved by the Bell and other things, in different sitcoms. And yeah, that's funny. I didn't think that was actually true that you could pick up radio signals.
If she hadn't told me to my face directly, and I was the same age as her son, so I don't know, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But she was just a sweet, she's a very serious woman. I mean, she works. Her thing, she had a huge amazing work ethic. So, you know what I mean? I mean, she was just very, very good about her work. And, she would put an 18-hour day easily on that movie. So you gotta hand it to her.
I mean, it's a great movie. I know that.
Yeah. It's not what people think. Oh, I'm a star. I'm a celebrity. I walk around, and everything's easy. She worked very hard, and she rehearsed, and she danced in it. She sang in it. She acted in it, and it was great. I have pictures of me with her. It's really fine. And Bob Preston was great to work with.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And Bob, of course, was the music man, and he'd done a ton of work before that. And I went up to him and said, you had to call him Bob. I said, well, Bob, I thought you were fantastic in The Music Man. And he looked at me with his little cigarette in his hand and he goes, I've done more than that, kid. And I went, oh, maybe I hit a nerve. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but he was actually very nice. He took a picture. I said, can we take a picture? He said, absolutely. So it was kind of fun. It was a lot of fun. He was a good guy. And he was a real star, big movie star. So, yeah.
So what would you say, like, your favorite memory so far, like, when you've been of anything you've done in all of your career?
My favorite, well, that's really hard to say because I did so many different things. I worked with Patrick Swayze in Disney on Parade. He was a great guy. And I made a lot of friends on MAME, and I wound up doing the voice of Donald Duck at Disney Studios, which I love doing.
Yeah. From
that Disney show. And then from there, I went out, and now I'm the voice of Little Quacker for Tom and Jerry cartoons for Warner Brothers. Nice. And we just finished our 5th season. And he's a baby duck. He sounds like this.
Oh, you Baba. I got the Baba. Oh, boy.
Nice. Yeah. I've seen a few of the episodes. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's a good reboot of the whole Tom and Jerry series.
Oh yeah, I think a matter of fact, I think the style of design of Tom and Jerry I think it was voted like the best. The second design in the late 40s between the way Daryl Van Sitters drew him and the late 40s was pretty similar and very successful. Now they're going to do I hear they're going to do a movie, Tom and Jerry. So I'm hoping to be in that. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
And they're going to do a hybrid movie like Space Jam.
Oh, okay.
That kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Live action and animation.
Do you think it'll be
so? I hope to do that.
2D animation like with Space Jam, or like 3D like with the Chipmunks movies and stuff like that?
I have no idea. They haven't asked me.
Yeah, hopefully that'd be either way would be cool.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Who would you say inspired you the most to want to be an entertainer or anything in your life?
Well, I always admired people with talent, and I loved the movie West Side Story. A lot of those guys were my teachers. The dancers in that show, they became big choreographers. I took class with them. But I have to say Ed Asner, who I met after I did MAME, and I choreographed a musical he was in. And he's just such a down-to-earth guy and so nice, and gave me a lot of advice over the years. We still have lunch. Ed's a terrific guy. He did the movie Up in the last few years, and Mary Tyler Moore and Lou Grant. Matter of fact, he just had a fundraiser for his for autism. He has a grandchild that's autistic, so he has this big fundraiser. So I went there, and you gamble and you make donations, and it's a big annual event. So I really love that. It was great. I got to meet a lot of people.
Yeah, I saw some of your pictures on your Facebook of that. That looked really like it would have been fun.
And we have lunch with Ed every 3 or 4 months, and so I have to say he was one of my biggest inspirations, and I'm a big fan of Michael Keaton. I think he's just an amazing actor, and there's so many many guys out there, but I knew Michael Keaton at the Comedy Store, and for me the guy can do everything. Just that's what I was taught as a kid. As an actor, you should learn to do everything. Yeah. I tried.
Did you do a lot of stuff at the Comedy Store back in the day?
Yeah. I worked with Leno, Letterman, Michael Keaton, Pat Proft, who wrote the Naked Gun movies, and very funny guy, and lots of guys, lots of stand-up comics. They became really big comedians.
Yeah.
And I went into the acting profession, so I did Bob Newhart, and I have to say Bob was great to work with. Yeah, I had a great time on that set.
Bob is one of my favorite people ever.
Oh, you like it?
I love Bob.
Well, I learned a lot from him. I learned to be subtle. And, Suzanne Plagette, we were in rehearsal and we're by a flat, and she gave me a kiss for good luck. And I said, I have a girlfriend. She goes, so what? I have a husband. And walked away. I was a stupid kid.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, she was a beauty back in the day. I mean, she's...
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Her husband was even better looking. Can you imagine that?
Oh, wow. I just, right before I talked to you, rewatched the... Bob Newhart episode you were in, and that was that was hilarious. What is your favorite film that you've ever seen?
Well, I'd have to say some of the favorite films were Singing in the Rain and West Side Story, musicals, and Inherit the Wind and 1,000 Clowns. Those were phenomenal. They were I really love those movies.
Yeah.
And they're movies you can see over and over again. They have
Oh, I
so
know.
much, meat to them, I should say, or depth.
I
Just
love
wonderful.
I love Inherit the Wind. I was in a community theater production of that once, and that was really fun.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, those are the guys who wrote the movie Mame.
I didn't
Yeah,
know that. That's awesome. Yeah,
the musical.
yeah. I worked on a stage production of Mame as well. I did the lighting for it. That was kind of fun, except for the one situation where I had these two spotlights when I was designing the lighting, and the way the two spotlights crossed each other, it ended up looking like the MasterCard logo. And I didn't know that until like about 5 performances in, and I looked at it and I was like, that looks like the MasterCard logo, and then everybody started pointing it out to me. If there was like one person that you haven't worked with yet that you would love to work with, who would that be?
Well, I haven't worked with Michael Keaton, although I knew him at the comedy. I guess you'd say I
Yeah.
worked with him. I was at the
Yeah.
Comedy Store. But Robin Williams, we did Medical Shakespeare together for once or twice.
Oh wow.
I would have loved to work with him again.
Yeah.
And Ed Asner, of course, and there's so many. I mean,
Oh yeah.
some people with amazing talent. Bradley Cooper would be a kick to
Oh,
work with
yeah.
because you'd learn a lot from him. He's just conquered everything. Oh, and the guy who plays Wolverine, he can do everything.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman is like, song and dance man, everything.
That's amazing.
I mean, what are your thoughts on like all this whole thing where like most movies are like now comic book movies, and we're kind of going away from? I mean, we do have a few, like A Star Is Born. Speaking of Bradley Cooper and stuff like that, where you do have kind of musicals out there, different
Yeah.
styles of musicals and stuff. But I miss the days of like good musical movies. I mean, besides like Disney movies and stuff myself. So
Yeah, well, yeah, movies like Inherit the Wind and all that, they don't come up too often. So,
no, it's
but I love those the Marvel.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, I mean, special effects and humor.
Yeah.
The mixture is terrific, and I love going to. I go to all those movies. And the actors are terrific. I just met Don Cheadle at Ed Asner's charity event. What a sweet guy.
He seems like a nice guy. Yeah, he's
very down to earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What right now are you like listening to, watching, or reading at the moment?
Well, I watched Einstein, which was a series called Genius, and they have Einstein, they have Picasso, and that was a great series. That was terrific. It was really well done. And there's some really good movies out there. I just saw Rocket Man. Rocket Man was terrific. I had a cousin who was his bass player for many years, and so I wanted to go see that film. And also Queen. That movie was terrific.
Yes.
And there were several others. I mean, there's so many now. They just it's so difficult to find a dramatic film that is terrific because they don't make them as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean it's more about the action and the I mean basically it's about the action and the your Star Wars and your Marvel and DC movies and stuff like that are kind of the ones that are being made. But I mean it's what it is. I mean, I think a lot of the good dramas and things like that are kind of moving towards Netflix and Amazon and all that. Which is good. I mean, at least there's so many options right now, which is funny, based upon like, when even just 10 or 20 years ago where there was only, a few channels to watch things on and a few movies a year and stuff,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. The one other thing, like, what advice would you give to anybody who's interested in becoming an entertainer of any kind?
Well, because of cable, they've kind of taken the money out of acting unless you become a big star, and that's pretty tough to do. It's really getting out there and working and know your craft, know what you're doing. I mean, there's a lot of politics involved and stuff, but I was always told talent will out. So you just keep plugging away. And if you can sing, you can dance, you can act, you can do cartoon voices, you can do stand-up comedy, you can write your own stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, write your own television show, put it on YouTube or something. And I swear to God, I mean, some kid opens up a box, he's got 10 million followers. Well, he's got a show and he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
It's changed so much. I mean, in my day, I was told you had to learn everything. You had to learn to sing, dance, act, play the piano, music, everything. And here it's totally opposite. It's just every civilian wants to be a stand-up comic now. And I'll run into people who say, well, I'm a housewife, but I'm really a stand-up comic. I just have to bring 10 people to the club.
Yeah.
So my advice is learn your craft and then go from there. So you'll be ready. And a lot of movies and television shows they assume you can act. They look for the right look. If you're the right look, you've got a pretty good chance of getting the job. Then they assume you can act. So get your chops. I love people with talent, people who are naturally talented and gifted. And like you see, America's Got Talent. You see some people on there, they would never have had a chance.
Yeah.
And yet they're amazing. Just amazing.
That is cool. I mean, when you got America's Got Talent and American Idol and all those things where The Voice and all those things where people can actually now get discovered. I mean, it's good and bad in certain ways. People aren't having to work as hard sometimes, what some people say, but I think it's good that we have these talent competitions out there. I have one other question. What is your guilty pleasure movie? Like a movie that you're almost embarrassed to say you love?
Oh boy, that's a tough one because there are so many.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Geez, that I have a certain affinity for. Well, I like action movies. I mean, I'll sit through a karate movie and a kung fu movie, and I'm amazed at the special effects.
Oh yeah.
So if the special effects are phenomenal, I'll still watch it, even though the acting's bad, the script is bad. But I sit there and go, how did they do that? Like they just pummeled the last Superman movie, which was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, wow, how'd they do that?
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop watching it. I said, I know something's going to happen, but how do you kill Superman? And all the flying, how do they get him to fly? How do they,
Yeah.
And then even the last one, Avengers Endgame, was 3 hours long.
Oh yeah.
And I sat through all that, and I thought, wow, where's this thing going? Who cares? Look, Iron Man can fly. How'd they do that?
I know, it's amazing when you see like, the before and after of all those special effects. It's just crazy what they can do now that they couldn't even do like a year ago even. On some of the things.
Yeah.
Before we end here, do you have anything that you want to promote or anything that you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm in a movie on Amazon Prime called Letters from a Nut, produced by Jerry Seinfeld, written by Barry Mortar, who is Ted All Nancy. It's based on the books in the 1990s, Letters from a Nut. And you can go see it on Amazon Prime. And I'm doing a new one called New Letters from a Nut with Patrick Warburton, produced by Jerry Seinfeld. Awesome. And I'm in the 5th season of Tom and Jerry cartoons. And so we just finished that. And I'm Little Quacker.
Oh boy, I am the Baba. I got the Baba. Oh boy.
And I do other cartoon voices and all that stuff. So maybe I'll wind up out there in one of those autograph shows or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
that'd be awesome.
Oh, I did Lou Grant, Family Ties, Airwolf. I did Movies of the Week. I'm still working, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy about that. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you the story. Tell you a little story. I was at Disney Studios doing Donald Duck. I did their records and toys and tapes, and sure enough, I walk into the animation department. I do Donald Duck for these guys, and they think it's pretty good. I don't hear from them. And 25 years later, the executive producer, director of Tom and Jerry cartoons calls me up and says, "Hey, you still do a good duck?" I go, "Yeah, who are you?" He goes, "Well, I'm Daryl I was at Disney when you did Donald Duck, and I've got this little quacker, and I need a duck." So it wouldn't be much of a stretch for it, and that's what happened. And they still went through, Warner Brothers, I heard, went through 3,000 voice actors for that one little duck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I still got the job. So sometimes talent will out, and connections and networking and all that helps. So
that's cool.
Now, what do you think? That's a pretty cool story, huh?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that he remembered you all those years later and everything.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Well, thank you very much for taking time to be on here, and hopefully we'll talk again sometime soon.
Yeah, thanks. Good luck on your podcast, and I hope 100 million people listen to it. It'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
And remember, I'm still dancing. I'm the male stripper at the Jewish Home for the Aged here. It's a great job. You come back the next day, they think you're the new guy. So.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
And we're back. That was great. Here's a little bit more about the plot of Inspector Gadget 2. According to IMDb, this is what the storyline is. On the outskirts of Riverton, the safest city in America, a pensive Inspector Gadget sits in his Gadgetmobile along with his canine companion Brain. Gadget is back on the job, on stakeout, but he is concerned that everything is too quiet in Riverton. He has a very simple, rational answer to this. It's always the most quiet just before criminals strike. Evil must be afoot. In a moment of overzealous crime fighting, Gadget arrests an elderly woman for reckless driving, but not without incident. In his effort to make the arrest, Gadget's many crime-fighting accessories go wildly astray. It's time to report back to headquarters for a checkup. Baxter, the Q of the police department, delivers the prognosis. As he is a prototype, things are bound to have some glitches. The remedy is close at hand, but before Baxter can tell of his new top secret, Gadget is confronted by a furious Chief Quimby. The little old lady arrested earlier for reckless driving turns out to be Quimby's mom.
Sorry.
It's okay. Gadget is put on notice. Any more mistakes and he is on probation. Meanwhile, in the dead of night and in raging storm, something happens that will change Gadget's destiny forever. His archenemy, his nemesis, Dr. Claw, makes a daring escape from Riverton Prison. Now evil really is afoot. Chief Quimby offers Inspector Gadget one last chance to redeem himself through the capture and return to incarceration of Claw, and so the chase begins. Yeah. Okay, yeah, basically then Claw creates this thing. He goes and steals a frickin' ruby and all these other bullshit things that he needs to create this big laser type thing that freezes the city so everybody's like standing still and in midair and whatnot and everything, and so they can use some really bad special effects. And then they go and they're gonna rob everything, and then yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, as this goes along, there's this new Gadget chick named G2, played by Elaine Hendricks, and she and Gadget have a little flirtation. She's put on charge of the case after Gadget's fired. Blah 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 blah. The movie sucks. Anyways,
it does. It's terrible. I can't deal with it.
Anyways, Gadget has. Gadget has has his gizmos all in a whack for this girl, and for lack of a better term, he's got the hots for her. Yeah. And he in the end, he and her kiss. Everything's happy. They save the day. They put Claw back behind bars. He's got a bunch. Claw, by the way, throughout the movie has a bunch of bumbling idiot sidekicks who, like he does in the cartoon. They all kind of suck. And
which is interesting. If he's such a great criminal mastermind, why can't he recruit good people
and
to work for him?
And why does he leave? He leaves his plans written on a chalkboard in his headquarters.
Yeah, in an old bowling shoe factory.
Yeah, that they find because of Penny, because of course Penny's the smartest one in the family, and or the dog Brain might be as well. At some point, the dog talks because Baxter creates a collar that goes around the dog's neck and makes it talk. Anyways, and then I don't know. I'm trying to remember bits and pieces of this movie. It's like it's like so Chinese food where you're hungry an hour later.
I had Chinese food actually earlier. It was pretty good.
Are you hungry again?
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I had pizza when I came here. So.
Yeah, so you were hungry again. See what I'm saying?
But that was like 6 hours later.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But anyway, so.
But I'm just saying, I'm hungry for another movie that's actually good.
A good one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This movie sucks.
Anyways.
So, by the way, the laser beam was out of a giant bowling pin. That's what it came out of.
I didn't even notice that.
Did you notice? No.
I was so bored I didn't even fucking notice that.
It was a giant bowling pin. That's what the laser thing came out of. I have no idea why, but that's what it did. Oh, by the way, too, the place they were going to rob was the Federal Reserve, and there was a giant dollar symbol on the building, which I don't think actually exists.
And I'm not a scientist, and I don't know how this freezing bowling pin works. But okay, everything is frozen in the world, or in Riverton, I should say. Yeah. And my question is, somehow when they get to the they get to the bowling, I mean not the bowling, I mean the Federal Reserve, they can use a button at the gate and get into the place, and the gate still works.
Yeah, the gate
but
opens.
The gate opens, but yet it's frozen. I'm confused.
Yeah, it seems weird.
I'm really confused. And in my opinion, if everything's frozen, how can you even move the money? I just want to know the more logistics of this. If somebody has the science behind the way that this frozen bowling pin worked, please email me at mike@cullenpark.com. I really want to know how the science behind this works.
Well, he did have a book called Quantum Physics for Nitwits. Not dummies, nitwits, because they probably couldn't get the rights
of
to
course.
say dummies.
But yeah, I'll have
so.
to look up and see if that book really exists, and
doubt
maybe I can find out how to make my own bowling pin freezing thing, and I can
you
can freeze Northwest Ohio or something where I live. But
Whoa.
anyways, the Jesus,
or just a certain person. No.
Anyways, the greatness of this movie ended at one point. Yeah.
It was the best movie of all time. It was.
Mm-hmm.
There's one part where Inspector Gadget says, "And here's the good part," and he had an uncertainty in his tone of voice when he said it. Like he knew that this movie wasn't good.
He was disappointed, I think. It's like I can't remember. There were times where the Gadget Mobile said things too, like, "this is fun," and I'm like, "What the fuck movie?"
Fun. It's not fun.
Did they tell D.L. Hughley what the plot was, or did they just have him read these lines? That's what I'm just trying to figure out.
By the way, so at the end of the movie, or near the end, the car is again played by D.L. Hughley, and he gets stopped by the police. I don't know if that was intentional or if they just...
And by the way, the only African-American actor or black actor of any sort in the movie...
is the fucking car.
Is the car. Everyone else is whiter than snow. And
not the reggae artist.
Not Informer. Anyways, I don't know. So
I don't know what to say anymore about this project.
Do you want to look at some reviews of the movie on the Internet Movie Database?
Because I mean, if it's anything like the last time with the people raving about Tooth Fairy 2, I bet there's people that love this piece of shit. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what we can find. Let's go to a break, and we'll come back with that after this word from our sponsors. Okay, we're back here at All2ReelToo podcast. Anyways, the best sequel out there besides Inspector Gadget 2. Anyways, so you want me to read some reviews here, Matt, and get some response from these reviews? These are reviews from the Internet Movie Database.
Let's see what they have to say.
Okay, here's an 8 out of 10 review.
Okay. It's wrong.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Much more faithful to the cartoon, says Desert Hedgehog. Although IG2 is a bit sillier than the first one, it's much more faithful to the cartoon. Once again, Gadget says wowzers compared to Wowzer in the first one. And Dr. Claw called both Claw and Dr. Claw as faceless again. There's also no John Brown. It's just Inspector Gadget. Penny, although she has different hairstyle throughout the film, often wears her hair in the trademark pigtails of the cartoon. At first, I thought that Elaine Hendricks would be awful as G2, but she proved me wrong. She played her part extremely well, although French Stewart doesn't have the boyish charm of Matthew Broderick. He acts more like Inspector Gadget of the cartoon. And don't worry, he doesn't try to play Mr. Magoo.
Okay.
I don't know what that meant. But anyways, this movie is, maybe it's the whole squinting thing that he used to do on Third Rock, but which is kind of Magoo-like. This movie is also amazingly cartoon-like. The best way I can describe it is a live-action cartoon. It's live action, but with all the silly stunts of an animated cartoon, such as scenes involving Gadget getting his head stuck in a toilet. Although the CGI wasn't as good as it could have been, it wasn't too awful. If you're looking for a film that's true to the cartoon, IG2 is definitely worth seeing. Be warned, though, it's quite silly. Smiley face.
Thank you.
Jeez. All right, here's a 9 out of 10 review.
Oh my god.
It's good, but underrated. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't know if they understand the concept of the word "but." But anyways,
Yeah.
this is Mario Murderer 111-1. All right. Okay, Mario Lopez, if you're out there, please be aware somebody might be coming to kill you. Because there's a Mario Murderer out there.
It could be about the game.
Yeah. You could be like, it's me, Mario. What are you doing? Are you going to kill me? Oh, no. Anyways, okay. All right, he said, I really enjoyed watching this. There are 2 Inspector Gadget movies. The first one was made in 1999. This is the second one, but it doesn't continue from the first since it's a different director, and it was released straight to DVD. This film is an alternative to the second film. If you didn't like the first film and wanted it to be more like the cartoons, then this one is for you. I liked both Inspector Gadget movies. This film introduces a new robot, IG2. It's actually just G2 in the movie, but anyways.
Yeah.
The movie has an entire different cast, and Dr. Claw's face is hardly ever seen. Like the cartoons, nice special effects too, with a cartoon like, let's stop the bad guys ending. I find it funny and enjoyable. All right, that wasn't as fun as I thought it would be to read. Okay, now I'm going to read one that was an appropriate 1 out of 10 from Erico. That's the guy's name. Okay.
Thank you, Erico.
Okay. I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but I absolutely hated this movie.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to admit it right here and now. I liked the first Inspector Gadget. I know most people hate it, but I thought it was very nice. It was a very nice little movie, but this was just plain silly. Nothing at all made any sense at all. Okay, now, I thought in the first movie, John Brown, Inspector Gadget, got a girlfriend, but where is she in this movie? Second of all, how in the heck could a human guy like Inspector Gadget fall in love with a robot? What the heck were the writers thinking? How could the human robot breed with a robot? Robots have no reproductive organs.
Doesn't mean he wants to have kids with
I know. The whole thing was totally whacked.
Wow.
This was in 2003, so whacked was a good word. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways,
wow.
And Inspector Gadget was just annoying in this movie. He was nothing but a smart aleck, know-it-all, who was stupid and totally unfunny. Sheesh. What in the world happened to him after the first film? And I hate what they did with Claw. How come in the first movie he talked normal, but in this movie he has that weird robot voice? Also, how come he turned into an old man? What the heck was going on here? Overall, this movie was just dead awful to me. It made no sense at all. This piece of crap gets a big fat 1 out of 10. Once again, I apologize to The Secret of Nim. I don't know.
What?
This movie, along with MST3K's Invasion of the Neptune Man, were worse.
Wow.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say this guy, he's right about his rating. But Secret of Nim, maybe Secret of Nim 2, that one sucked. But the original Secret of Nim is an animated classic. I'm sorry, but anyways,
I've never heard of it.
A Secret of Nim. Oh, it was a Don Bluth classic from the 80s.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, look it up and watch it someday. It's a really good movie.
Okay.
Anyways,
better than the original.
Yes,
oh my god.
We're gonna read that. It's a 9 out of 10 from David Robertson.
Asshole.
Okay. Anyways, I had high expectations when I heard about Inspector Gadget 2. But I was not disappointed. These people don't understand the word but.
You should say and I was not disappointed. Oh my god.
I'm confused.
I mean, it makes sense that they think it's better because they can't. Yeah, whatever.
You know, it's
Oh,
like
God.
it's like, you know what? I love pizza, but the pizza from this place
It's pretty good.
is pretty good.
It's like, what? Oh man, this is before autocorrect too, so you can't blame that. That was deliberately typed.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Anyways, okay, maybe some of the things weren't from the original cartoon. The Gadget Mobile talks again, and Chief Quimby doesn't have a mustache. Okay, I'm gonna agree here. This is okay, but the film did stay true to the original cartoon series, which is now on DVD in Australia. Okay, from the hiding of Claw to the classic slapstick humor, and of course, it was filmed in Australia. This guy must be Australian.
I think he is.
Okay, French Stewart from Third Rock from the Sun really brought Gadget to life. And Caitlin Wax from Commander-in-Chief was great as Penny. She was my favorite performance in the film. I thank Alex Zam for creating a film that actually stays true to the cartoon and a film that will keep me entertained when I watch it.
I could barely keep my eyes open when I watched it.
I was falling asleep.
It was terrible.
I was literally falling asleep on the couch watching it.
That's probably why you didn't see the whole bowling pin thing.
Yeah, I was probably sleeping then. Okay, so anyways, I don't really want to read any more reviews.
This is gonna be a short episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
There's nothing to talk about.
No, there's nothing else.
It was just a bunch of random scenes. I mean, like him being silly, spilling mustard and ketchup everywhere. I mean, that's not. I mean, whatever.
I mean, I guess there's an audience for this. I'm trying to figure out the target audience for this. It must be kids, I guess, but I don't understand. I think kids are even too smart to think this movie's funny.
2003, though.
I don't know.
Think about an 8-year-old in 2003 as opposed to an 8-year-old in 2018. I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. If you were 8 in 2003, please email us.
Yeah.
And let us know if you watched this movie. If anybody out there watched this movie and enjoyed it, I don't care how old you are or how young you are, please just email us. It's all2reeltoo @gmail.com or mike@cullenpark.com. Just let us know if you enjoyed this film.
And why.
Please
explain it to us.
Honestly, I think for the good points of the movie, I will give it some good points. French Stewart was a good Inspector Gadget. He was more true to the original cartoon. He was better than Matthew Broderick. Can't say the movie was better than the first movie. I don't really remember the first movie, honestly, right now. So it could be better, it could be worse. But I don't know. Would you recommend anyone watch this movie, Matthew?
No.
Oh.
Well, hold on. If you're part of some like enhanced interrogation team and you're trying to get information out of someone, and regular forms of torture are off limits, which I recommend that they are off limits. Haven't watched this movie followed up by Tooth Fairy 2 on a loop.
Maybe
don't let him sleep.
Maybe we should just get a whole Alex Zam box set
and
just watch all of his direct-to-video sequels and then just put them on a loop.
Yeah, and that's it though. Like, let him.
We can send that to
else.
Guantanamo Bay, and they can just sit there and do the whole Clockwork Orange thing where they just pop open his eyes and make him watch.
Not even that. Let him have snacks. Let him have a nice couch. I guarantee you, the movies alone would drive people crazy, even if they had all the other trappies in life. Give him a nice bathroom. Give him a nice couch to lay on. I guarantee you, even books to read. Just having that in the background will just eventually just be like a hole just being drilled into someone's mind. Like just, especially with Larry when he says Fat Man and Hoggins, it's right there again. Oh God.
At least there was none of that in this movie.
No. I can't.
And there was a dog, but there was no pigs.
No, it was no pet pig. That was called Crusher. Because you get it, you're expecting a big aggressive animal, and it's a nice little. Your eyes are glazing. I know. Nice little piglet named Crusher. Yeah, I know.
No, not because of you.
But I will say this though: as bad as Tooth Fairy 2 was, it was at least more entertaining than this.
Hey folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
We just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All2Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So it
was a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so We analyze the real story and the real story.
Get it?
Get it?
Real.
Yeah, they're spelled differently,
Yeah.
folks. You can guess which one I said which way.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, so sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all too real. Bye-bye.
In the magical world of Hearth, there are wizards, there are sorcerers, and there are magi. And none of them know what they're doing.
That's how the best spells are discovered. Throw it at the wall and read the tea leaves. Or scorch marks.
Witness the wonders of magic, science, and property damage in a radio drama of phantasmical proportions.
Face my mastery over the elements!
Magus Ilgar. Now available for download wherever audiobooks are sold. Listen to the first 3 episodes for free on YouTube.
I was angry at that, but at least it had my attention.
Yes.
This movie hardly got my attention
Yes.
at all.
There was no reason for this movie to be made.
It should have never existed. And if they make a third one, maybe, I don't know if we should watch it. I don't know. I hope not, but
I doubt they'll make a third
Good,
one.
good.
You know, it's been, 15
15
years since the second one.
hey, you never know. Sometimes they made Blade Runner sequel like 35 years after the original, so...
Yes, and Inspector Gadget 2 is
No.
as well a respected a movie as
No.
Blade Runner.
No. I just mean that. Wow.
Well, maybe they can do a crossover movie.
Yeah, God. Oh, man.
Is Inspector Gadget a replicant? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, do Inspector Gadget's a dream of electric sheep? Oh, wait, no. Anyways,
Wow. Tron was another one that was like 25 years later.
I mean, they do that, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually for movies that are
They're good. Yeah.
good
I
and
know.
successful and well respected.
And plus, too, having that amount of time separated makes the movie even more majestic, because not only is the movie take place that many years later, the movie actually was made that many years later as well.
Yeah.
So it actually has a sense of realism.
It's like the
to
new,
it.
it's like the new Star Wars movies
Exactly.
or something. Yeah.
Oh, I don't like new Star Wars because Luke Skywalker doesn't act like he did when he was 19 years old. Because every 65-year-old person we know acts the same. Well, I guess some of them do. But
Well, so my thing is I think that when we end up making Inspector Gadget 3, we should cast French Stewart no matter how old he is at the time,
Yes.
and have him play like
Yes.
80-year-old
Yeah.
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah,
and,
let's do it.
And then all the little fanboys out there will be complaining, he's not acting like he
He's
did
not.
when he was a young adult.
It's not like the cartoon from 1973.
83.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Anyways,
I,
Okay, anyways, thanks people for joining us on this exciting episode of All2ReelToo. I guess we'll catch you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All2ReelToo podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.